day 6 of this river cruise is the one that's, everyone has heard about, wants to go to, and that is Vienna. Vienna is going to have 2 options in terms of its included tours, which is gonna be your, like, panoramic tour, and then also was the home of the Habsburg dynasty, which I will tell you I knew nothing about before I went on my first river cruise, and now I'm obsessed with them. They were the competing force when you had Maria and their Schönberg Palace, which is in Vienna, is in direct competition with the Palace of Versailles. There's also a Netflix show called The Empress, which is about Sisi, which is the famous empress of the Habsburg dynasty. Now, another really interesting thing is that you have Maria Theresa, which is actually considered the mother of the modern world. Welcome to the River Cruising Masterclass. I'm Sydney Skellinger from The Poodle Booked It, and I'm here to take the stress out of your next river cruise, whether it's the Rhine, the Danube, all the way out so you can read. Today, we are actually going to be talking about a hosted trip that I have on the Danube River. I kind of wanted to talk you through the itinerary, and I am super excited about it. First things first, we are going April 11th to so pay your taxes early and come along and either spend that tax refund or cry with me on the river about how much you have. Talk about why I picked this cruise. So I picked this river cruise because, one, I like going during shoulder seasons. And shoulder seasons now are being like April, end of October, early November. So you have less people. Usually when people go on trips with me, the weather is perfect. I have a relationship with the man above, and him and I have a good sort of situation. I'm sure I'm gonna to butcher it because I said that. But I will also tell you that Budapest is my favorite city of all times. As we talked about, our next series that we're going to be doing is the Danube River, and I'm really excited about it. So to kind of kick it off, I wanted to talk about, we have not finished our last series. I know my ADHD sometimes kicks in very hard when it comes to this podcast. I apologize. 15 out of 15 of our series though, and I just finished all of them. But this river cruise is going to be super awesome. And it goes to my favorite city, which is Budapest. Now, when I went on my first river cruise, it was on the Danube River. And I will tell you that I think the best first time is actually going to be the Danube River. I know the Rhine has the gorge and all the beautiful things, not a bad choice, but I do, my sentimental heart loves the Danube River for that part. When I first picked this cruise, and I sold it to my friends, I was like, oh, who cares about Hungary? Like, it's one of the stops, but every other place I want to go. And then it became my favorite part of the trip. It is so beautiful, all of the architecture just on the water. Like, you're sailing through the city and you have Buda on one side, Pest on the other, and you're sailing through and just being able to see how beautiful it is lit up at night. And it is absolutely breathtaking. And it's one of those experiences that I think is. So this cruise actually is round. It's going to do Austria, Hungary, and Slovakia. And it's a great teaser, tip, taste, whatever you want to call it, of the Danube. And it also has a lot of amazing. So for this cruise, we're actually partnering with the Riviera because of their money back guarantee and some of their excursions. I did lock us in on one of their brand new ships. It won Best Ship of the Year this year because it was built last year in 2025 as one of the best new ships on the water from Travel Weekly. So I'm really excited about that. And it looks absolutely phenomenal inside. It has 3 restaurants that you can choose from that are all included, and drinks are included 24/7. On top of that, they also have multiple excursions. So it's not going to be as nice as some of the ones from like Ama or World or things like that, but it is going to be a little bit more than what you would get on Viking or some of the ones that just have one excursion in each port. So if you are watching this on video, you can see there's a beautiful chandelier, and I will tell you, I am a sucker for a chandelier. If it wasn't like a two-story chandelier, I would say it should go at my house. But my roommates would probably kill me because I already rhinestone. And so with that, it is a brand new ship, which I always think is nice because we can break it before someone else does. Now, I wanted to go through this itinerary just to kind of give you the highlights of what it looks like, how it feels, and see if you might be interested in joining. Because I would love to have you guys just so that you have that just such a fun way of meeting new people. And so it is just so fun to kind of take groups with me when I go on vacations. Some of my friends, I will tell you, get annoyed because they're like, why are you inviting people on our vacation? I said, well, every vacation I do, had to learn to stay. It would, of course, since it is round trip from Budapest, which I know you think I'm saying it wrong because there is that ST, but it is a psh, not a st. It's a shish. You can say it wrong, but they will correct you. I always, of course, recommend flying in at least a day early, and Budapest does deserve at least a day or two. And we can also set it up where you can do a pre or post in Prague, some extra time in Vienna. So there's a lot of options to make this trip personalized to you if that is something that you wanted to do. Now, one of the things that I'm really excited about is it's going to a couple of ports that I haven't been to. I've done the Danube twice now, and on both cruises, I had excursions on each one. So I think that's a great way that the river cruises are distinguishing themselves differently, as well as just making sure that we can experience different things. Why? The second day is going to Esztergom, which is Hungary's ancient royal capital. So there you're going to be able to see the medieval royal capital, which is the seat of the archbishop. And there you're going to be able to see the Great Basilica, the royal castle, and that is going to be a building that is you can see from the river and so you on a day to explore. The third day is Bratislava, and that is going to be an interesting port because most of the time when you hear Slovakia, you're like, why do I care? If you do care, that you're wrong. I'm just saying that as my personal opinion. Personal opinion. It is interesting because when you get there, it's really cool to see just how much Slovakia has changed because of how many people been a part in history. One of the things that's really cool is when you're there, you can actually, next to the church, they have part of the original like walled city, and you can see some of the attacks on it. So they still have that there. It's really cool. It's something that's really unique to see. And while you're there, you can do like a guided tour of Bratislava. They also have like a guided hike if you want to go all the way up to the castle. And I mean, the fort on top of the mountaintop. So those are some of the things that you can do. Another great option is they have a really cool cafe in the middle of the city, right in the cute little old town area. When I went last, it was, the stop that you were supposed to do. So my friend and I ditched our tour early so that we could get the best seats in this cute little bakery. And the bakery is completely frescoed. It's one of the oldest bakeries in this area, and it's all frescoed. It's super cute and adorable. And I'm not a big coffee fan, but I love hot chocolate. And I'm sure some of you'll notice that there's a theme where I'm always trying chocolate wherever I go. It's a thing. But I got this hot chocolate and they give you the whipped cream on the side. And it's basically like a Parisian or what is famous now as a Parisian hot chocolate. But like you lift it and it's literally like soup. So we had gone about halfway through and we were wanting to go shop some more and explore. So I took it to go. I just carried it onto the ship. And the next day I opened my hot chocolate and it was solid. Like it was literally a chocolate bar. Like that is how rich and thick this was. And it was delicious. So those are some of those things that you can try there. Something really cool to do and just really being able to experience the local scene in a destination that might not be your original like top destination to go to. And then day 4 of this trip is actually going to go to Dürnstein and Melk. So it's a 2-for-1 day. You get 2 locations for the price of 1. I am all about those values, let me tell you. The first one is in the morning. We're going to Dürnstein, which is an absolutely legendary village. known for its icy blue abbey towers, where Richard the Lionheart was imprisoned in 1192. And that's why Dürnstein is an unforgettable gem on the Wachau Valley, which the Danube River has a lot of beautiful scenery and things that you sail through. It also has some amazing locks. You're sailing through the day, so you get to experience some of it when you're going. Now, the second part of that day, we're actually going to be going to the Melk Abbey, which is this honey-colored Baroque splendor right above the Danube River. It was originally built in the 11th century. Things that I find super interesting about monasteries is how many of them actually sell to fund their work. They don't drink it, but they are okay selling it. I mean, I guess Jesus turned water to wine, but when I went to one of the legendary abbeys, it was a different abbey. So I've already talked about two destinations that are going to be completely new to me, Danube River twice. But it's one of those things that it's super interesting to see that and to see how ingenious or how scrappy they were to be able to use the resources that were available to them, make the schnapps, and, the men of cloth know how to get down. They just actually can't. Now, day 5 is one I actually think is really interesting in the value add for the cruise that we're picking. Some of the cruise lines charge extra to go to Salzburg, which is about an hour. Salzburg is famous for the Sound of Music and Mozart. Now, for me, the sounds are alive, obviously, and you got to do, re, mi, fa, sol, la. So you can do an included full day excursion of Salzburg. It is that hour and a half drive to get there, but that part is included, as well as a guided walking tour of the main sites, including the fortress, the old town, the palace gardens, and some of those sites that are associated with Mozart. You have that free time and lunch, full day there. Now, if you don't actually want to do that drive, you can go to which is the cute city that we'll be docking in, which is Linz. And I have explored Linz, and it is a very cute town and definitely worth it if you or want to do that as like a post option after the cruise to spend more time in Salzburg. But I will twice. It is good to do Salzburg at least once. It is a super cute city. The fortress up on top of the hill is really cool. You can take a gondola up to it, and they have some really neat to explore and to see, and some beautiful viewpoints. So things to think about. But yeah, so you can also do a tour of Linz. There is a tiny pool on the top deck. Use that and lay out or just relax if you wanted to while you're on your ship. This cruise ship also has bikes you can rent. So you could stay in Linz and just bike ride around the countryside for the day if you wanted to. I do, if you are watching on YouTube, have some beautiful photos of Salzburg and what it looks like, the old town, how you can. Now, day 6 of this river cruise is the one that's, everyone has heard about, wants to go to, and that is Vienna. So Vienna is going to have 2 options in terms of its included tours, which is going to be your panoramic tour, and then also one that Vienna is one of those cities I really don't think it was the home of the Habsburg dynasty, which I will tell you I knew nothing about before I went on my first river cruise, and now I'm obsessed with them. They were the competing force when you had Maria and their Schönberg Palace, which is in Vienna, is in direct competition with the Palace of Versailles. So being able to see both and seeing that comparison, there's also a Netflix show called The Empress, which is about Sisi, which is the famous empress of the Habsburg dynasty. Now, another really interesting thing is that you have Maria Theresa, which is actually considered the mother of the modern world because she had 13 daughters and was so smart. So her husband was the technical king, but she ran emperor, but she ran the country and also created a bunch of partnerships to the point where there was not a royal bloodline that cannot be connected to her because of how well she was at her. but there are some amazing sites that you can see and all of those different pieces. Some of those things that you can do, I'll tell you the price just because there are, okay, I'm gonna tell you some things that you could do that are free in terms of not an excursion, and that would be to do a Salzburg tort tasting. So there are two famous bakeries that tout they actually were the original inventors of the Salzburg tort. Family drama and all, to go to those two and compare them. You can try to make it yourself, but I promise you it's not as good. I have tried that again. I'll post the video of us trying our Salzburg torts. That's a fun one. So the first option that you can do if you want to do something extra is Vienna is also famous for the Spanish writing school. It is the oldest institute for classical question, and you get to learn about how they 33 euros per person to do that. And the second one is going to be in the after. It is outside of the city. It is not super far because it would have been far back in the day, but not in today. And that is 65 euros for you to do that. A hidden gem of a museum in the city of Vienna is actually going to be the treasury, the Vienna, I say gym because all it is sparkly things. If it wasn't for the fact that I didn't want to spend the rest of my life imprisoned in Austria, I would see if I could like borrow one of them because I love sparkles. I'm literally wearing a gym sweater right now. So gyms on gyms is literally what I want. I mean, they did get away. I've already talked about it, so I can't do it. And so we have some beautiful photos of Vienna and just the city. Now, Vienna is one of the only ports on a Danube River cruise where you're in the city, but you are still technically having to take a bus to the old city center. And it's a 5-minute bus and you can walk back because I have done it and it is not a terrible walk, but they do drive you to old city center because it is such a huge city. It is one of the biggest cities. So they do have that piece of it. But as I said, the Danube straight there and being able to explore or any side of buses. Now, in river cruising in general, that is the case, right? The Douro is not really, to be truthfully honest, you have a lot more. For the Rhine, I'm going to say it's like 60% it is on the Rhine River, but there are a couple more where you have to do that 15 to 20 minute bus ride to get to those destinations, or sometimes an hour if we're going to Heidelberg or things like that. But that's just something to keep in mind when looking at day 7, which is, of course, the last full day of the river cruise, because they're 8 days, 7 nights, is coming back to Budapest. So you get another full day to explore Budapest. So you can see what is going on. You can explore, you have the option to do the panoramic coach tour as well as like an active. So is Pesh. And this is where you can learn the differences between it. You have the Hungarian, which is just as beautiful as the outside. And you get to see the crown of the like 5th century Hungarian and no photos. You can take photos at your own risk. You can go to the cathedral on the other side. There's some beautiful photo points. They even have a really cool hiking tour that you can do. If you want to get a little crazy, there's some cooking tours, some cooking classes. I always think of the George, I think, Ezra song, Budapest. I always play it whenever I'm there. It's one of those things that you can do as well. And all of these things are reasons why 2 days that you're here, because you also haven't even touched, which it's 50-50 if you like this, but the thermal baths are very famous in this area. And so you can go and do a half day there as well. It's not something that there are people who love it. I did a cooking class and it just surprised me how much Hungarian paprika, right? So they use it, but like the amounts, I felt it was just like handfuls at a time but of course I had to buy a bunch and still have only, so these are some of those things that you can do. Excursions, it's 8 days, 5 beautiful destinations, so 3 countries. And one of the things that I absolutely love about this is that we have some current promos that have been extended to till where it's $350 off per person plus $500 off air per person. And you can do flight deviation if you want to stay extra time. And that is included because all they're doing is giving you a $500 credit off. So you have that flexibility to make this trip as custom as you want. Now, the cost per person to do a French balcony, the entry-level French balcony room, is $32.49 per person with that $350 off. And those are some amazing prices to be able to have definitely recommend it if you're going to do it. And I think you get an amazing value from it because with that, you're getting all of those excursions we talked about. You're getting your drinks package and there is 170 people on board. So it is one of the larger of the ships because as we know, the 3 restaurants that serve breakfast, lunch, or the 3 restaurants that serve lunch and dinner, and then they have one that just serves breakfast. And they have each different sort of menus. And so it's really cool to see how they use the space well, because it is a newer ship, so they kind of have some engineering behind it. Now, the Riviera cruise line is probably one that you've never heard about. It is from the UK. It has been around for 40 years, so it has more of an international client. Just to be aware of that when you are on board. And it's not going to be 90% Americans. It'll probably be 50-50. And on top of that, it also, but yeah, so it's about 50-50 US citizens versus some like the rest of the world. So you do get to have the multicultural, but just being aware of that and prepared for if this is something that you want to do, or if you're thinking about joining me, I would love to have you. And so just in recap, which I am just elevating this as an option for you. Maybe the idea of doing like a quote unquote sales pitch on a podcast, but it's more of just like, I'm really excited about going on this trip again. And we've gotten their first river cruise and with someone on board that would make them pass. I will say that another great thing about Riviera is they have that. And if you don't like the trip by day 2, they will refund. So you do have that guarantee when it comes to this trip that there is not or like this trip. So that's just something to think about. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. My email is sydney@thepoodlebooked.com, or you can reach out to me on social media, which is @TravelAdvisorSydney. I would love to have you on board. If you have any questions about river cruising in general, just do a spot. So if you check that out on Facebook, it's pretty cool. I was made 14. I am signing autographs. But with that, thank you so much for listening. If you find this enjoyable, I would love for you to leave a rating or travelers see this. It brings me so much joy to be able to do this. And I am really focused on after summer break, but like August break, to be more consistent with it is my goal. New Year's resolution in the